Welcome back to Active Minds Podcast. I'm Catriel Sarfati, and as you've probably heard numerous times already, our goal here is to explore and learn through people that are creating their own lanes. So we're going to get into a little bit of their perspective and their experiences. We're then going to fall into how does this apply to you? Because advice sounds great, but what the fuck does it all mean to us? And last but not least, moving smarter together. Today, I'm joined by I'm going to go into a little bit, but specifically something that I love about this guest is that he is the epitome of manifest destiny. Mm-hmm. Connor, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So the title for this one is Manifest Destiny.
Ooh.
And as soon as you walked in, the first thing you started talking about is like, I think, therefore I am.
Right.
So abracadabra is the first word that came to mind.
We are here.
So local Florida, you left Florida, came back. We couldn't keep you away.
Couldn't keep me away.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Where did you move to?
So born in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, of course, native, but moved when I was 6 years old to the Carolinas. Oh. So 6 years in Charleston, South Carolina. Salt life, right. Yeah. And then 12 or 13 years or so in Outer Banks, North Carolina. So about almost 20 years combined in the Carolinas. Moved back 5-6 years ago. Happy to be back. Loving the sunshine, the palm trees.
And traffic.
That's
always fun, right? Okay, so one of the things that I did previously you coming in, I asked a few people on my Instagram, like, hey, here's this person, here's this team, here's something that they're working on. What is something you'd love to learn more? So here are the top ones. You can plead the fifth if you want every now and again.
Sure.
Some of them were around, first of all, you have a luxury auto group. But we'll get into that. You have a fun spin on that one. You also have something in the Web3 NFT space.
Correct.
Dealer's choice, man. Which one are you going to start with?
We'll go with the Luxury Auto Club.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
All right. First things first, kudos, because you're able to take something that's heavily saturated and give it some soul.
Yeah, give it some soul.
Fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Right. Why that and why you?
Wow, good question. Why that? Why me? Well, I like to consider myself a high performer in any aspect of life. I have high energy. No caffeine right now. This is just me high on life. So I love fast cars naturally. Of course, I would love fast cars.
In my head. Let's get the people going.
Let's get them going, baby. Yeah. Let's go. So I was always an enthusiast of like high-end luxury automobiles. So that was, going to car shows, what have you. Always loved that space. Coming back down to South Florida, come on, you look around us. It's Miami, South Florida. Yeah. There's nice cars, Rolls Royce, Ferrari, Lamborghini, you name it.
How come I haven't seen you at Supercar Saturdays?
I've been there, yeah. Floyd, I know Floyd. Yeah, Floyd.
Okay, I hope to run into you there.
Shout out Floyd, Supercar Saturdays.
Yeah.
Exotics on Las Olas. Oh yeah, tapped into the community. So nice. That was a blessing just to come back to South Florida over the past 6 years and building my network. But so you said, why that? I mean, why not? Why not? Luxury cars. I mean, it's literally almost the epitome of success, right? Where any male or female, Danny, that wants to be successful. A lot of times they're driven by nice things, right? And as a Taurus, right, I'm a very, I have a lot of humility. I walk with just like grace, and I love anybody from all walks of life. But being a Taurus, I like nice things, materialistic things. Not gonna lie to you. So
the texture,
right. The way it feels, the way it looks. I'm a what?
You're a foodie too, then. I guess.
Foodie, yeah. I mean, I like food. Yeah, I like good food. So, why not luxury and exotic cars, right? It's once again almost like the epitome of success. When you make that first big check, whatever it is, whether it's in sales, and you made your first 6 figures, or your first company sold, and you're like, I'm gonna go buy a nice car. I'm gonna go buy the wife or a husband nice car, whatever it is. So, either way, that's one of the things that drives me in life is nice things. So,
I like that you're honest about it.
Yeah, I'm honest about it, right? Yeah. And then why me? I would say I'm deserving. I think we're all deserving. I show up to life with integrity, with intention, with good character, good heart. So why not me? I was always driven from a good place as an entrepreneur. It wasn't about like screwing anybody over and making money, a fast buck. This is like, what can I do?
So you don't like Jordan Belfort's strategy?
Yeah, I mean, he had some good strategies, but what can I do to give back to the world? What can I do to give back to my community, my family? How can I operate as a high performer and bring value to the world, bring value to, once again, like I mean, people around me, my social media followers, you name it. So yeah, the Luxury Auto Club was born. Funny enough, we don't got to get into it, but it was born as Cars and Crypto. That was the original name. We've evolved. A lot has evolved. Shout out to Cars and Crypto. If you guys know, if you were following from the beginning, you know what Cars and Crypto is all about. So yeah, either way. So
how did that work?
That was fun. The evolution of just entrepreneurship and a brand of business. But you said, how did that work?
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, the name alone is kind of like
well, it's Cars and Crypto. As I was telling Danny, like, we were talking about the blockchain very, very briefly.
Yeah.
I know she has a lot of questions. We can maybe dive into that. I'm not the expert. I'm not the blockchain expert by any means. Certainly know some people that are.
Glad that you can admit that, man.
Certainly. Listen, I'm a great CEO. I'm a great co-founder of the company, but I'm not a tech genius. I can't tell you all the intricate, things about the blockchain and things of the sort. But so yeah, Cars and Crypto originally was just we wanted to literally give away cars. Not going to lie to you. That was like the original vision. Wanted to give away cars. We love the world of cryptocurrency, Web3. Yeah. The markets were on fire. Everybody, if you're watching this, active minds, if you were watching like the bull run, over the years of the Web3, the cryptocurrencies, even the regular markets. So definitely wanted to get involved in this space. I was always interested in being an investor and, the cutting edge technology. So, I mean, look, I could ramble on this topic forever, but the vision just was, look, we love cars, wanted to give them away. Do you guys know Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Come on, I went to college with Mr. Beast.
What?
Don't know him like super personally, but I remember seeing him around the college campus saying what's up, and he wasn't even as big as he is now. Now he's like, I don't know, 70 million followers. So this guy's massive, but I love that concept. I just want to give away cars and people to get hype about it.
I might join you on one of those giveaways, man.
Yeah, we're going to do one. Luxury Auto Club will be giving away cars. I assure you. Follow along, Instagram, Discord, you name it, and you will see.
I'm looking forward to this, man.
So, and we'll certainly bless you guys, talking about the Luxury Auto Club with a membership, possibly. So let's make that happen. Right. Now, either way, listen, the team has evolved, expanded, the vision has evolved and expanded. It started as just really myself and one of our co-founders, my cousin, Corey. He's our creative director, creative genius, had a lot of visions for Web3 as well. Mm-hmm. We were going to be building like some other companies in the Web3 space, not to disclose them. There were some high-level things that we were working on, but we ended up kind of putting those to the side, just to kind of preface. One of them was in real estate. One of them was in music. We definitely still have those visions, but they've been kind of pushed back because the Luxury Auto Club kind of took over our day-to-day lives. We saw the vision. We wanted to run with it, but it's evolved over the past 8-9 months to now a team of, I would say 5 core team members, but we have a few others. We have a marketing agency. We have, advisors, multiple, content creators. So we definitely have evolved and expanded. And Cars and Crypto was not a big enough vision, truthfully. It wasn't. It was like, we wanted to give away cars, which is great. I mean, come on, who can complain about giving away cars? But we were like, once again, when I was telling you of what I am, like, as a person, how I show up and who I want to be as an entrepreneur, the impact I want to have on the world, I was like, we got to think bigger. We got to think bigger. We got to do something. Yeah, we got to do something radical, something different. Bring something different to the world of Web3, the world of business. Because essentially we are bridging, Web 2, right? Web 2, the world of regular business, what have you, with Web 3. So we're like, man, we want to do something different. And that's kind of what has evolved, or been the foundation of what has evolved into now the Luxury Auto Club, which is a luxury auto club, what it sounds like we call it a country club, right? For Concourse Club, Concourse Club in Miami, right? High level, it's, I think the minimum membership is $50K a year, to go drive, very nice cars with wealthy people around a track. Essentially we've just evolved into a luxury auto club on the blockchain. Okay, that's what we coin ourselves as, a luxury auto club on the utilizing blockchain technology. But we have those 3 pillars that I mentioned, which is exclusive experiences, okay, aka cars, exclusive. They're very exclusive cars, right? Exclusive experiences, elevated minds, okay, so entrepreneurs, people that are elevated minds, whether spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, any sort of elevation in your thought patterns, whether you're forward thinking, what have you, and then of course community that drives you is the foundation of it all. Community that drives you, because that's what Web3 is based around. Podcasts are built around community. Right, your podcast can have the most powerful people on it, and whatever most powerful people speaking and ideas. But if you don't have a community listening, like you're not going anywhere.
Just yelling into the void.
Right, yelling into the void. The void. So yeah, man, that's where we're at.
So if someone were to listen to this and they would, they obviously there's excitement. There's 3 pillars that basically will keep this machine running for the long term. if we were to take a step back or 3 steps back, how would you see this if you were starting all over again? Is there something along the way that you noticed that maybe a hiccup you faced, perhaps even your perspective on getting started? Do you think it's changed along the way?
Yeah, and this is not the first time. So this is obviously a lesson that the universe wants to teach me, whatever you believe in. Yeah, I mean, once again, I'm 29 as an entrepreneur. I've had some areas of success as a solopreneur, I would say, and always was a big dreamer as a kid. Always was going to be a big time entrepreneur. This is not a new vision, right? I've been thinking this for a long time, but I'm learning the same lesson that I learned many years ago, 10, 15 years ago, when I was the positive influence in my hometown, in my college town. I think was the first one who started using the terminology good vibes, right? Nobody knew what that was yet. I mean, people were like, what do you mean good vibes? Like, dude, it's all about the good vibes. And I was like, looking into the law of attraction and other laws of nature and laws of the universe. And the same lesson I learned back then was I always thought I was going to be like a Tony Robbins, a motivational speaker, have a podcast, you name it. And I never took as much action, though I'd post to my Instagram or like back then Snapchat. Haven't used Snapchat in 5-6 years, but back then, and still great platform when I see people still use Snapchat. But I used to post to Snapchat of like just all these positive messages, and as I was going through my journey as a young entrepreneur, going through a spiritual awakening at a young age, so I would post some stuff, but there was always some fear there of like not posting because I wasn't ready, or who's going to listen to me, because like I'm not Tony Robbins yet. I'm not one of these big guys on social media. Had connections with some of them, followed them. I was like, oh man, I'm 19 years old, man. These guys are 29. They got the experience. Yeah. So, and 10 years later, a decade later, I'm 29, and now I see where I'm at. So you're never going to be ready. To me, you just have to jump in. You have to share the content. You might never be ready to start the podcast. Well, you got to start anyway from your living room, or on your iPhone, your Android, whatever you have. So same thing with the company. It's like we didn't maybe go to Discord and like start really building a community early on because we were like, oh, we're not ready. We know Web 2 business. We knew one thing. We wanted to build a good, solid foundation of a business before we went live and started building a community, which is great. No regrets, right where we're meant to be. Looking back, I know that people probably would have appreciated the journey, like we've been talking about, the journey of life, the ebbs and the flows, the evolutions of the brand, the evolutions of me, my personal brand, Connor O'Hara. Who was I 10 years ago? If I was sharing, and on YouTube I had all these ideas of car rides with Connor, and if that's alignment right there, talking about manifesto destiny or whatever, it's like, car rides with Connor. I was 19 years old. I was going to start a podcast, Car Rides with Connor, to have these deep intellectual talks in cars because I loved cars. So it's like, you hop in my car, let's have these conversations. So going back, if I could do maybe not one thing differently, but a lesson I've learned is, man, if we were just sharing from the beginning and letting the community evolve with us, so the trust was there. They knew, these guys aren't new on the map. We've been building since December, January. Entrepreneurs before that, obviously, didn't just see a hot market bull run. Like, oh, take advantage of it and let's get some cash. Like, it was like, dude, we've been building right in the real world. So, but just going back, if I could share the story the whole entire time and get the community involved early on, they would have seen the evolution of cars and crypto to what it is now, the Luxury Auto Club, instead of us now have a solid business foundation, partnerships, do all this stuff. And now we're just getting into to like really building a community, which is the aspect of the brand, community that drives you. So no regrets. The Luxury Auto Club is going to do very well. We're right where we're meant to be, right? No regrets.
Not even a letter.
Not even a letter. But that's one thing that I would recommend to anybody listening, in the future, now, just to take action. And even if you feel you're not ready, just to dive in, like head first, talk to the camera. Maybe it's not podcasting or talking to a camera, building a community. Maybe it's, what the girl you're interested in, or maybe it's like whatever. Shoot your shot. Go for it. Speak. You have one life to live. You have one voice. Use it.
Fucking man.
Right. Show up. If nobody's listening, who cares? Gary Vee. Gary Vee was the goat of it, saying, dude, for 8 years, wine library, and he didn't, no followers, no watchers, nothing for years, nothing, and now look at him. Consistency.
So one thing I hope that you're taking away, if we're going to put it in a format for you to just go and take action now, is he immediately goes into, okay, yes, manifesting, good vibes, all this stuff. You've heard this a million times. But if you were to go and look it up right now, maybe take notes on how to begin, there's something called beginner's mind. And then his approach is heavily reliant on first principles theory. So when you look at beginner's mind, it's basically your perspective to how you're going to approach this. And then first principles theory is, here's the foundation that I need to get going. So if you were thinking of something like a car needs an engine, two wheels and a seat and brakes.
Right,
but
right.
basically, that's kind of where we're going with this.
Maybe some gasoline.
Am I hearing this right so far?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. Maybe some gasoline or some Celsius. You got to get a little kickstart, or a pure green juice. No.
Dude, thanks for the plug.
Yeah,
Joshua would love that one. And they are really
very
delicious.
good, by the way. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay, so moving into specifically something that you're very passionate about. You've been so calm. You're just not saying anything right since we started. When it comes to moving into things right now that are driving you, let's say for the next 12 months, right? What are some things that you're hoping, some skills you're hoping to, one, hone,
right,
and an experience that you're really looking forward to?
Dang, you guys are legends, man. These are great questions. I'll start with the latter. Experiences I'm looking forward to. Dude, I'm looking forward to the journey of building this company, of actually building the community. I see how exciting it's been.
Yeah.
Building, and now I'm excited to bring this to the world and show the community, the Web3 community, the auto enthusiasts, the driven minds, the people that are passionate about self-development, showing them what we've been building. And that's just going to be so exciting to really take what we've been doing behind doors and bring it to the world. Like, how exciting. Imagine like Apple building a computer in the garage and then bringing it to a store, bringing it to the world to use the utility.
Yeah.
We have a utility Web3 project, company, and essentially like nobody's using it right now necessarily. We've been building, we have the great foundations, the social media platforms are there, have a lot of great partnerships, but like I can't wait to see a member's face when they're like, they hop out of a Lamborghini and they're posting on our Discord, like, man, that was an incredible experience. Or we're hosting a mastermind with some elevated minds, right, and some active minds with some high-level players that were around to really motivate and inspire the community. And not only motivate and inspire, really offer value. So they're like, dude, they're posting in the, Luxury Auto Club, that mastermind changed my life.
My fucking life.
Dude, Active Mind podcast changed my life.
Like
right? You know what I'm saying?
Trip.
Like an ayahuasca journey, man. I've done it a long time ago. Great times. So definitely I'm one.
Familiar.
Yeah, right. I knew you looked familiar, right. I'm definitely one for the spiritual journey.
Amen.
And we incorporate that as entrepreneurs into the Luxury Auto Club. So, we actually hired a business coach, Ryan Blair. If you guys know him from Instagram, he's very well known. Ryan Blair, 10-figure entrepreneur. And we hired him. It's certainly not a cheap program, Altar Call, you can look it up. And we hired him specifically to coach the founders, myself, Danny, myself and my partner, Danny, in the business, right? To make sure we're coming correct.
That you're honing in on.
Right, and exactly, a skill we're honing in on. So, and now to answer that first question would be, for one, living with no fear, showing up, hopping on the mics like I seem to do. I'm obviously the spokesperson for the company. Always been confident, but like in front of the camera on the mic, but don't have a tremendous amount of experience. Like
dude, you've been like one of the most comfortable people.
Bro, it's crazy.
And
I was born for this. It's aligned. It's divine, right? I was always told Connor, you need to be a radio show host. You need a Mobile Mike. You guys know Mobile Mike, iHeartRadio. Dude, he's been wanting to bring me on the team for a long time. Like I was selling insurance, and on the phones, it would be like, dude, what are you doing selling insurance, man? You need to like be on the radio, be an actor, all these things. So
nice.
Like that's something I'm looking forward to stepping into. That's to answer even that question even further. That's something I'm looking forward to. And then what I need to hone in on, I think, is operating from a calm, collected center, right? As a CEO and a co-founder, like, man, I've got many hats on. I'm all over the place. I have a team. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like all over the place, high energy, not the best at organizing and planning, scheduling, what have you. So but as I'm evolving as a person, personal development with the company, I'm like, okay, I can't be the CEO and lead the company with the right vision and the right energy from the top and leading people, not below me, but leading my team that could best support me so I can best support them. If I'm like chaotic all over the place. So I'm learning how to like, take a deep breath, like center myself, relax, and operate from this smooth, calm center so I can be a good leader.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah, I like that.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
But you weren't always in the car game. You weren't always in the crypto space. You started somewhere, and it wasn't TV apparently. So
Right. It wasn't TV.
You obviously took some
Autographs
skills along the way.
Right.
And started applying it to these new sectors that you were walking into. What is the one pattern, the one skill that you've carried with you this entire time?
I think just drive and determination to be successful and to live a good life, whatever that means for you. Like I've always was like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to live an elevated life, right? Literally, financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Like, I've always had this drive to be successful, to this passion for self-development and becoming evolved, like evolution. Like the world and business is all about evolution. Yeah. Plants, animals, you see it. So why would we not want to evolve as a human being? Like,
it's funny you mentioned that, because one of the previous guests that we talked to, we got into a little bit of how poverty mindset was the catalyst, and then we got into the whole poverty and the effects that it has on your literal mind.
Oh, right.
So when you talk about evolution and so on, like let's say when we're talking to somebody and they're hearing this and maybe they're in a dead end job, maybe et cetera, like what is your personal opinion on someone who's stuck?
Yeah,
like they're just stuck. Socioeconomics aside, but they're just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you notice is what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, and that's a big problem I think a lot of people face right now. And it's never been easier to make money in the world of online, internet, you name it. But like, it's also not easy. It might be simple, but it's not easy, in my opinion. So I don't think you could ever be stuck. I think it's like literally impossible. Like this desk is atoms and it's vibrating. Like how are you going to say it's stuck? Like if this desk, you think this desk is stuck in rock solid hard, it's not. I promise you. Put it under a microscope, right? So how are you stuck when you have a beating heart that's literally beating? Your nervous system is doing all these things. Neurons are firing at hundreds of thousands of miles an hour. Like literally. So it's impossible to be stuck. You just have to have a shift. Change your energy. You have to change your energy. Change what you're consuming. Are you listening to Active Minds podcast or any other podcast that's going to elevate your mind? Are you a member of the Luxury Auto Club? Shout out to put yourself around high performers. Are you listening to the Tony Robbins and the GOATs like Gary Vee and you name it, like Grant Cardone's, these people that are legends and sharing free value in the world of the internet. So I don't think you could ever be stuck. Now listen, can you feel stuck? 1,000%. Feelings is one thing. Doesn't mean it's a fact or science, but it's a feeling. It's relative, it's real, you feel it, but you're never stuck. You need to shift your energy, you need to get up, move around, go for a walk. If you feel stuck in a job, great. That should motivate you and inspire you more than ever to, instead of go home and like you're stuck in yourself, you're literally sticking yourself to the couch, right? You feel stuck because you're working a job that's maybe a dead end job, but then you're going home and you're sitting on the couch. I've been guilty of it, but you can't complain and say you feel stuck when you're going home and sitting on the couch. And once again, you're literally, and I get why. You feel heavy, you feel tired, you feel exhausted, you don't feel inspired because your day-to-day life doesn't look like what you want it to look like. But nothing's ever going to change if you don't change. What is insanity? They say doing the same thing every day or doing the same thing expecting different results. You have to do something different. So I would say go home and, get on the computer, start doing some research, start a podcast with literally $30 of equipment,
your cell phone.
A cell phone, not even.
Absolutely.
Maybe everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. Great. Okay. How many resumes have you turned into jobs that you like want to work at? And if you say three, like, dude, you need to do 100. You need to go around.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. You need to go around and put your resume. Everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. Everybody doesn't. It's something to be. Everybody glorifies entrepreneurship anyways, and it shouldn't be. It's being an entrepreneur is not easy for one, right? It's easy.
Yeah, they bastardized the term,
dude.
Man.
Right? You want an easy life? Find a decent paying job that you're happy, you're not miserable doing, and show up and just be comfortable. That's a relatively easy life.
Keep going,
dude. It's a fact,
somewhere.
right? So it's like don't always think, I got to be an entrepreneur, make all this money to be happy and successful. It's not. You need to learn how to be happy with yourself, for one. Mm-hmm. You're really good with the psychology and things of the sort and human behavior. Like, how do you be happy and at peace, whether it's with meditation, exercising, going out to the park, playing with your dog? It could be a relatively simple life and you could be very, very elevated and happy. You don't have to have a Porsche or a Lamborghini in the driveway, right? You can drive them as a member of the Luxury Auto Club, or maybe, shout out to online money or, e-commerce, and you can buy a Lamborghini.
I have an affinity for 911s.
It is great, exactly. Yeah. I'm a huge 911
I'm going to turn
fan.
into a collector. Yeah, I've had two so far, and I fell in love with them. They're really easy to work on, by the way.
Yeah.
Holy shit, the Germans got that one right.
Yeah.
But something that I definitely love from his perspective is it reminds me constantly of something that my mom would tell me all the time. El vago siempre trabaja el doble. The lazy always end up working double. And it's funny because that motivation being perishable is true, but at the same time, there is that almost what the fuck moment where you realize it's 3 years later, 4 years later, and I've been doing the exact same thing. Why is nothing changing? So yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, because I love having these conversations for this one reason, is that when someone hears it and they could come back to me,
Yeah.
oh, but like, then they start listing this laundry list.
Right.
And obviously the empathy that I muster up hears it and understands it.
Correct.
But then it comes back to the original problem. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Have you ever heard of Alfred Adler?
I've heard the name, I feel like.
So
enlighten me.
Adlerian theory is along the lines of essentially you're choosing how you want to show up. This might start to sound familiar.
Resonate.
So you have 3 relationships in your life. You got your business, your personal, and your love, your relationship. And how you choose to show up to each one is going to essentially dictate literally your quality of life. And another thing that Adlerian theory does really well is that this one's a little controversial. They're like, trauma does not exist. The past does not exist. It's just goal oriented. So if this is my goal and this was my past, trauma, oh shit, that sucks, but that's more important.
Right.
So when I listen to your perspective and your practice, it sounds almost like inadvertently you have ran with it and you're a living testament that Alfred was right.
Yeah,
Plato and
I would
Socrates
say
would be so proud.
Yeah, right. I actually have the app. What is it? Something. It's a philosophy, app.
There's an app for that?
Yeah, I don't know the name of it,
I'm
man. I'll have to
behind.
check it out. But you can essentially DM and chat with like Socrates and some of the greats. Obviously, it's kind of AI based.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Very, very cool.
Nice.
Because I've studied some of this stuff as well, and not as well versed as in like some of the maybe even names and like, but I have a very good base understanding
that's a good foundation.
of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. So. But yeah, you're never stuck. Exactly. You have to do something different. You have to show up to life. You have to not quit, right? You have a bad job. Well, I've washed dishes in college and I loved it. I was the best damn dishwasher that place had ever seen. And I took it with pride. I was not even embarrassed by it. Like I made more money elsewhere. Always was an entrepreneur in my mind anyways. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'll get to meet people, girls in college, right? At the restaurant, all the waitresses and even just, it was just a simple job.
You're a man with a plan.
Yeah. And I didn't have to think a whole lot. Like I didn't have to think and overwhelm myself with how can I perform. I literally was 18 years old and could show up and think as an entrepreneur of what the vision looked like. I would manifest. I would literally speak manifestations. I would literally make raps and freestyle like these.
You rap?
No, I mean not.
Nah, you
not
rap.
like
you
that.
Fucked up. You
Come on,
fucked up. Yo, you haven't recorded rapping?
No, but I would literally be like almost freestyle these
You're
manifestations.
Not leaving it till you rap, dude.
Certainly not happening. But affirmations
Oh,
while I'm washing dishes, and literally I was such a good. It sounds so crazy and corny. I have so much humility to even say this. Mm-hmm. Like I would run the dishes through, and I cared so much. And this is how you know I was going to be a good entrepreneur, a good self-development leader, whatever it is. I literally would look at the dishes and I'm like, nah, they're not clean enough for me. Psh, run it back through. I don't care if it put me behind. I knew I wanted customers because I knew if I was a customer in a restaurant, I wanted to see the fucking cleanest fork on that table, cleanest glass. So if I looked and there was still a little something on it, even though it was desanitized, I run it through again. So like that's how I showed up to life. It's just like, do I have it all figured out? Do I wake up every day at 5 a.m. with the crack of dawn and read half a book and meditate every morning? Like, dude, listen, I don't got it all figured out.
Why is that so important to you?
Figuring out my life every single day, but I know I show up and I'm gonna continue to do, not even try, because there's no try, only do. To continue to wake up and do. I'm gonna do better. I can do better. I could show up better to life, but I'm always going to continue to show up and do. Now, what was the question?
Why is that so important to you?
Why is what?
Showing up,
Man.
having pride in what you do.
Dude, because our word and our actions and our integrity and how we view ourselves, for one, and how the world views us is all we have, right? Yes, you have your family, you have this, and you have all these things, you have these cars, but like, I just believe so much in like we have this one life. Is one experience. For one, I want to give it all I got. I do want to be a very successful entrepreneur. I do want to have a lot of impact. I do want to start and run a nonprofit, right? So I know that's going to take to be at the level of success that I imagined and am creating for myself. I know what that takes. So I think that's me as an entrepreneur. Everybody can't relate to that. So no matter who you are and what you want to do and be in life, I think once again, like, what you think of yourself, and even I would argue, some would argue this, but how others perceive you. Not that it's an opinion, like their opinions of you don't matter, but like how do you want to show up to the world? How do you want people to perceive you? So if you want people to perceive you in a good way, I would show up and do good actions. Do a favor for somebody. Like I'm walking on the street, I'll pick up trash. Like Mark Cuban says, he's a billionaire who is, when he's in his stadium, he'll pick up trash. He'll shake hands with a janitor and have a conversation. Like, that's how I like to operate. I'm not a billionaire, nowhere close. Not even a millionaire. I'm on the path to becoming one. It's in my mind. It exists. It's going to manifest. Mm-hmm. But it's a matter of like how I just want to show up to the world, and it matters to me because that's my reputation. That's who I am. That's how my family's going to remember me. That's how my my future children are going to remember me. That's how my legacy will be remembered. If I write a book, or if this podcast will live on maybe forever on the internet, who knows? And it's like, oh wow, damn, that guy really was a legend, man. He really showed up to life and gave it his all, and cared about people, and picked up litter, and did things that is just going to elevate the world, man. I believe like anything that elevates the world or collective consciousness, and even picking up trash, as corny as that sounds, picking up a piece of trash is literally elevating consciousness, in my opinion. Like you don't have to save the world and be a superhero. You literally can be a superhero by picking up a piece of trash, because you do that and it's a trickle effect. Somebody else sees it and it inspires them, or it maybe brings a smile on their face, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up a piece of trash. Like, it starts with just one, the ripple. Like, amen. So that's why I show up to life with that attitude.
Whoa, wait. If you're watching this and enjoying it, press pause for a second. Go to activemindsclub.com. Again, activemindsclub.com.
Here you will have membership access to our exclusive networking events, as well as behind-the-scene access to our guests, where you yourself can ask them questions.
Not to mention, at these events and in the community, you're going to have access to the very mentors that are here sitting with us, as well as many, many more that are doing cool things in stocks, marketing, cars, real estate, where we're going to have you have access to education, insights, how-tos, all things that you can apply to your life and business. So you might have heard the phrase before, different levels, different devils, and perfect practice makes perfect. And when it comes to something that I'm hearing from his perspective, and that I hope that you're taking away, is that there needs to be confidence in order to be action and steps forward and progress. And very often we'll talk to people, not on the guest side, but on everyday life, where they'll complain. They have the laundry list. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have something that is not going our way. Right. For every good day, there's a bad day. There's just the balance of things. But specifically, when you look at how you would build one's self-esteem, confidence, and so on, you know, you've got his approach where it's like, I'm going to wash these dishes the best I fucking can. And the pride behind that is because you cannot build anything outside of yourself if you're not actually built yourself. You don't have a sound foundation. So yes, maybe to you or your friends, washing dishes is not the best job in the world, but there is a pattern to almost everyone that I've ever met that has done something amazing. When I met Connor and I met his partner, the first thing that we went over was, I keep noticing a common trend. Almost everyone that is elevated and doing something amazing with their life is focusing first on treating themselves like that rent payment, like that car payment. They treat their brains the exact same way, and almost all of them have a sports background, something of a community background, camaraderie, or military background. And even if you don't have that, you can practice that now by putting pride in what you do, because then you are seen in a certain light, and being seen in a certain light, invited to new, spaces and rooms. And you kind of see where we're going with this, right? Am I kind of hearing this correctly so far? I just want to make sure I'm digesting it the way you're saying.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And to relate to that even more, you sparked this literally image in my head of me.
Ooh,
one of the next jobs I had in college was cooking burgers. Okay, cooking burgers. And I did it with pride, right? I was like probably 19 at the time, maybe 20, 19. And I still was an entrepreneur in my mind. People asked, what are you going to school for? I was literally studying entrepreneurship in school, right? So I know you didn't need college for it. You certainly don't. Kudos to anybody going to school in college. But, I was cooking burgers, and I actually was probably the slowest cooker there. I ended up losing my job. I was fired because I was slow, and new management came in, and I wasn't as close to new management. Long story short, that's we don't got to go into that. But I remember being like the slowest cooker they had, but I made the highest quality burger. It's just like the dishes. I wanted to do it right. I wanted people to come here. Right. I was not scalable. Right. I wanted people to come in and be like, dude, that was a damn good burger. Yo, who cooked that? Connor cooked that. Right. So, but you know what that did? The reason I'm bringing that up is because not only I did things with pride, and I did it because I cared, but it got me not only in the right rooms, but literally an owner of another restaurant came in. He was an owner of a Jimmy John's, local Jimmy John's. And long story short, he would sit at the bar. I would make his burger, and he would say, you made the best burger I've ever had at this restaurant. I've been coming here for 10 years, whatever it was, and I made the best burger. He offered me a job, not cooking, not doing this, higher level job. So it got me in the right rooms around the right people, and I did things with pride. I did things the right way. I was fired from that job. I ended up, not working with the gentleman. Long story short, I didn't want to commit to that opportunity. But was later let go because I was a slow cooker and this and that. But me cooking a burger slow with integrity and pride was opening up doors for me to higher level people, right? This guy who owns a Jimmy John, probably multi-millionaire, and was like, I'm coming here. I remember him saying one time, I come to this location because there's many locations for you. because your personality is great. You seem to have pride in what you do. You're smiling. You have this positive energy, but you cooked my freaking burger well.
So in a line of cooks, you were able to impress that guy.
Right. So yeah, long short, I mean, just something that came to mind. It's like showing up a pride at everything you do, because you never know what the next person you're going to run into is going to, what door that can open, or what opportunity. So even if you are at that dead-end job, do it with pride. Maybe show up with the good attitude, and maybe you'll get not only a promotion, maybe somebody comes in, you meet them, and they offer you some other job, whatever it is. But even when you go home, you're operating from a hopefully higher level mind, right? Elevated mind, once again, active mind of like, dude, that was a good day at work, not the dream job, don't really like it, but that's okay, because I'm going to come home and I'm going to do something that's going to drive my future, right? I'm going to do something.
You're a very high energy guy. I personally love your energy.
Thanks.
You make me feel at home, actually. Yeah, between you and your partner, you got New York and high energy. I'm like, yo, let's go. Where did that start, though? I mean, obviously, you said that you've always kind of had that spark going right now, right. But like present day, you've got to stop down and as you said, take that deep breath. Maybe a little Vipassana while we're at it. Yeah. What does that look like in modern day? How are you slowing down? How are you feeding the noggin?
Wow. Yeah, man, that's something. And I know, I once again, with humility, I'll say I don't do enough. Like, man, in my dream reality that I know I can create, we all can create, like I would be slowing down more, I would be meditating more, I love reading, I would read more, listen to audiobooks, I would get back into podcasts, because I was a huge guru in this self-help growing up, like, and from 18 to, even before that, but like really from like 18 to 25. But then you get into the real world of adulthood, and you got to pay your rent, and it's very expensive in South Florida, and this and that, and you got the car payments, and so like we kind of lose sight of the things that feed into our souls, because we have to feed into our, I don't want to say egos, but we have to feed into our lives, our rent and this and that, and taking care of the bills and take care of the baby and the dog and the wife and the whatever it is. So, my practices aren't perfect. I do try to slow down and meditate and read. I make sure that my environment is inspiring to me. Like I'm not scared to spend money on a nicer apartment, so I'm inspired when I wake up. You're talking about how do I keep this energy going? Dude, I wake up and I look at my apartment and my view, and I'm like, how can I not be inspired? I'd rather spend that extra money than save the extra couple $1,000s a month and live in a place that I wake up and maybe not inspired. So that's one thing, how I keep my energy, good, because I come home to an elevated, I keep saying elevated because it's the fact, elevated space, right? I keep elevated people around me, you guys, all elevated people. So definitely keeping elevated people around me, an elevated environment. Of course, my apartment, I spend most of the time there. And then, just remembering to slow down and feed into my soul, like you said, listening to podcasts, which I'm actually just now getting back into. Been a lot of developing over the past, 8 months, and even before that, years as a top insurance salesman in the country. We actually had the number one agency or team in the country, and there was 300, 400, I don't know, teams, so we crushed it. But, and even then, I remember going outside, it seems like a lifetime ago on the journey I've been on the past year. But I remember even then being in the number one performing team in the country, and I would go outside and I would put in my headphones and I would listen to a podcast. Well, what was the meditation app? It's like Mindful or whatever. And I bought it. It's $69 for the year or whatever, $100 for the year or lifetime, whatever the hell. It doesn't matter. You can go on YouTube and get it for free. But I would go outside and meditate, because I knew, even though I was driven and on caffeine, even back, I was drinking caffeine more back then.
This is him not
on caffeine, legit, sober as can be. But I knew to operate and to make the best sales, to operate from that best level, that it mattered for me to go outside and connect with myself, connect with my highest self. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 seconds, just like I did 10, 20 minutes ago. I took a deep breath, I centered myself, and I'm like, wow, I'm present. I'm really here doing a podcast. This is epic. I got elevated people around me. Let me take this in for a sec. And now when I come back, I'm operating from a higher level of awareness. I'm like, dude, this is nice. Look at this view. Look at this podcast room. This is nice.
I got to put you together, both of you together, with one of my good friends, man, Sean Gray. He was the head of sales for Robert Kiyosaki for a long time.
Ooh, legend.
Yeah, exactly. And his being around him, I consider him a brother. And I was just with him in Scottsdale, and that is something that he reminded me of, because I'm guilty. I get into it, I get into the flow, and I kind of lose myself. Too. And Sean was definitely that person, dude, just chill. Yeah. Especially being out there in the desert, it's really easy to chill. But that I got to say, when we look at that in practice today, I really appreciate that you were honest about throwing on your headphones, even if it's just for 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure you've heard frequently from people that, I suck at meditating.
Right.
But no, you don't. You just got to
You don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just shut up and fucking try it, for a little bit. But that 100%, I appreciate that approach because it's not only easy to do, but it's really hard to forget that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're already listening. Almost everyone I see now has, like, these AirPods in their ear. I'm pretty sure you can, like, not listen to, Cardi B or something for a few minutes and just listen to that.
Right. You could definitely incorporate meditation or in audiobooks. Man, I love audiobooks because, I love music. I'm a music guy, talking about rapping, right? I've always been a music guy. I wanted to be a DJ growing up, on top of an entrepreneur and everything else. I wanted to be it all. God bless it, the journey. But, audiobooks are super powerful because you can get millions or billions of dollars of information from these legends. Robert Kiyosaki, you name it. There's some legends out there that are dropping knowledge in a $9.99 book. A $9.99 book, $10 to invest in yourself. And instead of listening to it for a week, on your way to work, if it's a 30-minute drive, you have traffic, or on your walk, I know music hypes us up. I love music as well.
Yeah,
I want to get hype and affects your mood. But so can a podcast or an audiobook. For that week, you replace music with a podcast and audiobook, and now you got this guy who's a billionaire, XYZ, he did this, he created this, he ran this nonprofit, whatever it is, and you're learning his life experience and his lessons in a $10 book. So $10 can elevate your life and change your life forever, So just, taking a few minutes and remembering that I just told my business partner, Danny, been somewhat in the weeds, building this company, wearing a lot of hats, been somewhat in the weeds. Anybody who's built a company can certainly understand. But I'm starting to operate at the place of like, all right, I think I said this earlier, I cannot run a company at the top level and speak on behalf of the company if I'm operating chaos because I'm wearing all these hats. So I'm once again reminding myself, I did an insurance and every other aspect of life, caught in the flow of like life, produce, make the money, get the checks, do this, got to pay this bill, got to do this, the company's got to do this, to saying, all right, that stuff's important. Wear that hat if you got to, but don't forget to put on the calm hat and to listen to the meditation or the audiobook. And because that's how you're really going to be able to, I'm learning. Once again, I shot the message to my business partner, Danny, of like, I was like, what did I say, man? Something very inspiring, but it was along the lines of, man, I'm operating like smooth at this point. I'm like, going forward, no more being lost in the weeds. Like, listen, I need to be organized with my schedule and my calendar so I can host the right meetings, so I can have the support from the team and the whole team. If I'm operating well and operating well from the top, essentially I can lead properly and the whole team will win. It's not about me winning. It's about the whole team winning, but the whole team can't win if the vision, the CEO, the co-founder of leading the company is not clear on where we're going or the initiatives that need to take place. Or if I'm speaking to an audience and it's not resonating because I'm stressed out, my mind is on something else, who's going to buy the product? Who's going to become a member if they're listening to me and not inspired and wanting to get involved? So I'm like learning to kind of like take a step back, breathe again, meditate, listen to audiobooks, and man, shake my body, do the workouts, man. You guys,
dance?
you see.
You dance? You can take you to Mango.
I love dancing, man. Me and my girlfriend, we salsa.
There we
dance,
go.
yeah.
Shit. Okay, we'll take you to Mango's. That's it.
Yeah, Mango's. Yeah. Shout out Mango's.
Dude, that place. It's the only place on South Beach that I have a love for.
Cuba Libre, that's on Los Olas, man. I live on Los Olas. Cuba Libre, shout out. Listen, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to visit you up there.
Yeah.
When it comes to, so one thing that I appreciate about your approach is that I mentioned before first principles theory, but you seem to always find out where you fit and you provide the most value, and you kind of just step back and let everyone else do their thing.
Right.
How is that applying right now into the NFT/Web3 space?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I'm learning that and stepping into that now more than ever. I've done a lot of the developing and involved in all these conversations, but I'm learning now once again to operate smoothly and make sure everything is going forward and stuff, is to not be lost in the sauce and worrying about sales and marketing and development and all the aspects of the business, right? The 5 pillars of business. The question was what? How am I doing that in Web 2, Web 3? What'd you say? What was the question?
Absolutely. I'm intrigued by how you being who you are, you keep developing and growing as an individual, right? So when it comes to entering new spaces, you're borrowing and bringing over what works, adding new things.
Right.
So your business improves and you improve, right?
Right.
What does that look like right now when it comes to the Web3 space and how you're playing in it?
Yeah, so I think, and we've hit it multiple times, right, is me speaking on behalf of the company, doing these podcasts, and speaking on behalf of myself, for one. I'm obviously, Connor is separate than the business. Yeah. I'm not here for the luxury article. I'm here, obviously, we can talk about it, what have you, but I'm here to connect with people, right? This is about us right now. It's about connection and community and network and what have you. But, yeah, I'm just learning, once again, where my power is. And my power is not being, though I was a top salesman, though I was a great dishwasher and a great burger cooker, like, that is not my job right now. My job is not to be like, how are we going to get sales? How are we going to get the marketing right? How are we going to do this? Like, my job as CEO, I've never been a CEO before, by the way. I've called myself CEO Hera for many years. My last name is O'Hara. CEO Hera. I've called myself CEO Hera for many years. I manifested this, right? I was always going to be a high-level CEO, in my mind.
Definitely did.
One of the jobs, dude, I go on these rants inside. I'll come back. But one of the jobs I had was at Disney World, and they don't hire on the spot, right? They didn't. When I moved back to Florida, dude, Disney Springs. It was like downtown Disney, right? Disney Springs, yeah. But they don't hire on the spot. There's the processes and that. But my energy was so on point. The way I showed up, I dressed so nicely and dappered down that I showed up. And when I walked in, they said, dude, what are you applying for, the CEO position? That's what they said. And I was like, man, that's my destiny. Like, Nice. And then obviously sat down with the actual CEO. No, he was a general manager. I apologize. He was a general manager. Sat down with the general manager, and he hired me on the spot. He said, Connor, I know we don't do this. Arguably, I was underqualified, legit. It was for a serving position, something very basic, but at a high-level place. Yeah. And I was definitely underqualified, was never a server. Though as a people person, don't get it twisted. Like, just because you can talk to people and relate with people doesn't mean you're great at carrying dishes and being organized with all these orders. And that's a challenge. That could be a challenge. But, so I was always destined to be a CEO. But, going back to your question, is like, knowing how I can best serve the company, the community. How can I best serve that? Is, once again, it's doing the things I said. It's like operating smooth, getting the vision down pat, making sure we know where we're going, making sure things are running smoothly. I can get involved with certain meetings, but it's not my job to market. It's not my job to make sales. It's not my job to make sure development is in development, right? I could overlook it. I can make sure things are flowing smoothly, but I'm just learning now, because I was scrappy. Right? You want to be a number one salesman in a company? Like, I wasn't number one. Actually, that was my buddy, Adrian. Shout out Adrian. He literally was number one in the country. There was 350 teams. We were number one team in the country. He was number one agent out of like 3,000 plus agents. Wow. So shout out to Adrian. He's obviously not watching this, but maybe I'll send it to him one day. So, you have to be scrappy in sales. You're taking action. You're going, especially as an entrepreneur. You think you could get it done. You're like, oh, I'm going to get it done. I'll wear that hat. I'll wear this hat. But I'm learning, once again, I'm not even 30 yet. And at 29, I'm learning, I'm like, all right, I know that's not my job. It's not my job to be scrappy and be involved on the ground floor necessarily. It's a different level. Yeah. And it's not anything better than this. Everything is so important. Sales, marketing, dude, the janitor, everything is so important in a company. It's not even funny. Disney wouldn't be Disney if it didn't have janitors keeping it clean. Right, so it's like, this podcast wouldn't be operating right now if it wasn't for Brian on the mic and the videos and that. So everybody plays a vital role in a company, in society. So the trash men, they make good money, by the way. Decent money for 6 figures. Right? You can make you can make some decent money. So it's like, and people are like, oh, trash man, that's the worst job in the country. It's like, maybe not. He's making more than many other people.
It's like an awkward moment where the teacher tells you you're gonna go to your garbage man, like, great, I'm making 6 figures.
Right.
Holy shit.
And I actually know somebody worth a lot more than 6 figures. He owns a very big waste management company. And so if you don't think you get rich off trash, man, you're out of your mind.
There's money in mud.
So yeah, right, exactly. There's money in mud. So, but I'm just learning how to operate as a CEO, and I'm very new to this. As in anybody else, we're always new to the next level.
What are you learning from right now? Are you taking courses? I know you said you're a coach.
Courses, sure. Yeah, courses, audiobooks. I'm listening to, getting back into the audiobooks, the podcast. I've always been a great speaker. I'm a natural at this. People have been telling me for 10 years I need to be a radio show host and a podcast, and I had all the ideas, and I used to talk to my own thing, but there was still fear there. I would record it and then hit cancel and I got to redo that one. I'm learning now to just speak. Right, and share it with the world. Say what you have to say. No redos. No need to be perfect in the world. But yeah, I definitely will be hiring, as natural as I am at this, and don't have a tremendous amount of experience. I took one public speaking course in college and really didn't learn a whole bunch. The best way to public speak is just by doing it, not necessarily learning it from a textbook
or Toastmasters.
Right? Toastmasters, exactly. So that's great. But so exactly, maybe hiring a speaking coach so I can speak eloquently and I can nice. Maybe not over talk. I can remember to let others speak, because I do talk a lot. God bless it. So I'm definitely will be hiring coaches. We hired, and I'll shout his name out, Ryan Blair. Look him up. It's a $50,000-$60,000 coaching program that we hired. So we can operate from a high level. So we're definitely investing into, and that's not, I mean, that's for me personally,
Yeah,
sure, but
normally
it's
someone would
for the
hear that and
company.
be like, oh, fuck no, 50,
Right.
60 grand.
50, 60
no.
grand, right?
But
You know.
Nah, the residuals, the ROI on that is
Dude,
it's hard to deny.
To have an entrepreneur and someone who's passionate about self-development, and there's many, this is just one, and there's many other advisors we have, but to have advice from some of them and having them coaching you, dude, once again, that $10 book can change your life. You don't even need the 50 grand. You could have, $9.99 an audiobook, his book. You can, any. I mean, listen, there's tons of coaches and mentors that I look up to in the world of social media, because literally there's endless resources out there in the world of social media, podcasts, like endless resources. So yeah, I'm definitely stepping into that and learning that once again, I need to operate smoothly. I need to wake up and have a morning routine and not like be a little bit like all over the place in the morning. Though I am a manifester, so I do act on intuition and inspiration. Excuse me. That doesn't mean I can't operate smoothly within that inspiration and making sure, I have my meetings scheduled and things of sort, because business does operate, a certain way. So I'm just learning, man. You guys can have me back in 10 years and be like, wow, man, what have you learned now over the last 10 years of having those coaches or reading all of those books, starting that podcast and sharing that with the world, and now look at where you're at. I think we all can say that, of where can we be in 10 years. That's a Matthew McConaughey line. His hero is who he is in 10 years. If you watch that speech, he's like, my hero is who I am in 10 years. Like, that's truly my hero. Like, who am I at 39 years old? And what can I do over the next decade, and not even in the decade, what can I do right now? Because that's all we ever have. You want to talk about metaphysics,
True.
There is no past or future. Literally, we only have right now, this moment. So like, what can we do in this moment to operate at the highest level, to operate from a place of calm, peace, and make it happen. Go from there.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Just show up to life.
That resonates so much with me. So right now I'm just literally just chilling, just hearing this. I'm like,
Just chilling. I'm just
I
taking
love
a nap.
this. I love hearing this. It's like usually when this is the topic, at least sometimes I've heard it, especially here in Miami, it's like, oh, this woo-woo crap. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Live and let live. As we're wrapping things up, if you're watching, recording, listening, you want to press rewind, some finer points to go over is that Connor's approach when we started, we were talking about beginner's mind and first principles theory. That obviously has a compounding effect, which then led into perfect practice makes perfect. His approach to build self-confidence, general confidence, and just that unfuckable with core definitely relies on, yes, you've probably heard it a million times, it just gets started, but specifically how he started with the first principles theory is what he keeps doing along the way, and he inserts his pride. Right? So in the self-confidence building, he's focusing on his pride and what he's doing so that as he's learning, he's able to essentially break everything down into a how-to, an easy to follow 3 to 5 step guide. Then we went a little bit further, and he's working in 2 completely different spaces. But what they both have in common is that he's constantly showing up and figuring out, how do you and I connect? So there's something called TAM, total addressable market. And when people like him approach any market like that, they might not attract everyone, but that's exactly what you want.
Right,
you don't want to serve everyone. If you try to serve everyone, you serve no one. So all you really need is one raving fan. That 1 leads to 10. The 10 leads to 100.
Dude,
I can
preach.
keep going, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So as
He was
we
about to
move
freestyle.
I'm going to have to learn from you, man. And last but not least, when we talk about how we take care of ourselves, buzzwords sound great. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, so I'll repeat some quote or whatever, the thing that I love. But specifically, one thing that I appreciate about people like Connor is that they treat it like not a chore. They treat it as a duty, a duty of love.
Wow.
So when you kind of keep that practice going, it just becomes like a knee-jerk reaction. In the military, we have something called motor memory that they drill into us. They literally break you down and build you back up.
Right.
So like, think about it. You wake up, brush your teeth, or we say in the military, shit, shower, shave. And it's just a natural reaction. Well, guess what? That's literally how it works when you start putting things into practice. So as we wrap things up, I'm going to ask you a question, but I usually ask a question, but I kind of feel like I'm going to give you the floor on another thing as well. But what in the next 12 months or the past 12 months, because all we have is now, right?
Right.
What is something that you would love to celebrate about your accomplishments?
What is something I would love to celebrate? Yeah, I'm just reminding myself in this present moment to celebrate who I am, celebrate how far I've come, the successes, the failures. You know, we were talking in the beginning of, I thought I was going to be, quit insurance, making all this money, got all these savings, I'm going to do this, and boom, I'm going to be a multimillionaire before you know it, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm just celebrating what it takes to become successful, what it takes to become a high performer, what it takes to operate from a level of that inner peace and the love. And that doesn't come easy necessarily. It's simple, but it doesn't come easy. It's that practice, right? Every single day, self-love, man. Like, I love myself. I love my life. So I'm celebrating and continuing to learn to celebrate who I am in this moment, the exact situation I'm in, where the company's at. You know, I've had some amazing things happen. I've had some, dude, the life of an entrepreneur and even just anybody. Yeah, I literally did that last night to my girlfriend yesterday. I was like, I just go like this. My life is an emotional roller coaster in the best possible way. Like, one day I'm on top of the world,
I'm the man.
And the next, and the next moment, like literally when I say next moment, like an hour later, 2 hours later, I'm like on the ground. I'm like, we're done. That's it. It's like, it's so crazy. And that's the journey. That's what it's all about, I think, is just celebrating the ebbs and the flows and the ups and the downs. So just celebrating my life, man. I just moved into a nice new apartment, same exact building, same floor, but a corner unit. It's got nice big, floor to ceiling glass. And so once again, it's just, I'm just celebrating even that same building I live in, but I moved down the hall to even a nicer unit. And I'm like, man, what is there not to love about life right now? So we just launched, exciting things happening for the Luxury Auto Club. We have epic partnerships in the works, right? Nice. We're definitely bringing the exclusive experiences, elevated minds, and we're building the community that drives you. So I'm going to celebrate every step of the way. I'm going to celebrate every member, like you said. We're not trying to attract everybody. Yep. Like, you hit the nail on the head. I love that. It's like, especially from our company's perspective, we had a meeting with Casey Adams. If you guys know Casey Adams, had a meeting with him yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago. And that was one of the moments where, we're having a meeting with Casey Adams. These are legends around us sometimes. And then the next moment, I'm like, oh my God, man, all shit's hitting the fan, what have you, because it's just how it goes. But It's like celebrating, these wins that we have going on, these epic partnerships that are falling into place and still are going to take a lot of work. And it's never easy being an entrepreneur, building a business like this, especially bridging Web 2 business and Web 3. We're literally building essentially two companies almost. Building a Web 3 community, because that's what Web 3 businesses are based around. Bored Ape Yacht Club, you name it. These communities are built around community, but we're also building a real world business because we have real cars. They have to be driven, and there has to be a lot done behind that, and a membership dashboard, and websites, and assets, as in copy and content. So it's like building a company in both sectors has been such an incredible journey. Mm-hmm. And it's really just beginning. I'm excited to see, once again, the next member trickle in. It's going to start with, we're probably over 10 now. We just launched just the other day. I think maybe, 15, 20. Who knows the number we're at specifically. But I'm so looking forward to 100. We have 8,888 members total because we love numbers. We're spiritual people. So we have that number. It's a limited number of memberships. It's deflationary, so it will go down in supply as people upgrade and things of this sort. But I'm celebrating as CEO. Like, I'm not like, let's sell it, let's make all the money. I'm like, yeah, great, that's great, right? But you know what? I'm celebrating every single member. I'm like, man, thanks for being a member. Thanks for becoming a member. Thanks for considering becoming a member. Celebrating the 100, the 101, 102, because every single one's a win. So yeah, man, it's just an incredible journey. I'm grateful to be alive here with you guys, and
Absolutely,
it's been so much fun,
Yeah, and last but not least, what's a challenge that you'd like to leave us all with?
A challenge.
Next 30 days.
A challenge. Yeah. Man, there's so much things I could say. Of course, on a broad scale, show up to life every day with pride, like you said. And when I say pride, pride with humility, like pride of doing something for the right intentions, the right reasons. But that's very, very broad. I would say, if I could just be super specific, I would say two things. All right. For one, pick up a piece of trash anytime you walk past it. I don't like litter. We have one earth. Not even kidding
good.
you.
I like that.
Pick up a piece of trash anywhere you go, because that literally is just going to change the world as a whole. I swear to you. And then maybe leave tell somebody a word of advice or a compliment. Maybe just compliment somebody, whether a friend or family. Yeah, because once again, I'm all about elevating consciousness, elevating the world.
Take out the trash, pick up the trash,
right,
and pay some compliments.
Yeah, pay some compliments, maybe, or give somebody a piece of advice. You see somebody who's doing something, give them a piece of advice. Maybe they didn't even ask for it. I don't know. But maybe a compliment or a piece of advice, because I think that's really powerful.
Well, this has been one of my favorite ones so far. Here at Active Minds, as I started off saying, that our major goal here is to learn through the experiences and perspectives of people who have put in the work to pave their own lane. And as you saw already, we started to look at how that applies into different sectors of our lives, and of course, move smarter together. I want to give a huge thanks to Vegan Gummies and Hands Free Automation, who's been not only a partner, but a lending hand and an amazing support system to keep this machine running. I've been Catriel C. Sarfati. This has been Active Minds. See you next time.
So guys, as we're wrapping up, we want to remind you that we have our membership program now available on ActiveMindsClub.com.
ActiveMindsClub.com. Grab yourself a seat. See you there.